using a digital form of assessing is helping your practice or student learning?
It's helping my practice in a couple of different ways. Number one, I'm able to get the feedback to the students a lot faster because having done the pre-work to set the form up and having some preset comments already in there, and I can type a lot faster than I can write student feedback. Students, instead of waiting a couple of days for a final assessment, are getting it back like the next day. Some students are saying, hey, I got my email last night and I saw what you gave me. And then again, it's a much shorter feedback period. So that also leaves me more time to do more planning, to do more small group, to think about what I need to do with those students who are struggling.
My journey started around thinking about learning skills. It started last year. I thought about the overwhelming data that needs to be collected around learning skills, sticky notes, odd little pieces of paper, my anecdotal notes within my day book or my mark book, and realized that that was an organizational nightmare. I wanted to think of a way that would keep things nicely organized so that when it came to learning skill time, I would have that information organized and grouped in a way that would make my learning skill reporting more efficient, more authentic, more real in the moment.
It brings everything into one place. So rather than the notes that are in my head, and if I get hit by a bus, nobody has those, and the sticky notes and the random notes, is that it's so fast to be able to just pick it up and even do it in the classroom, not just at home at night, that I have a much better record of what is actually happening in my classroom.
It's incredibly powerful for students to have immediate feedback. Students are not waiting for me to finish marking 60 major assignments. They are seeing their feedback when their feedback is done. So it's immediate. It can be, they're responsive for themselves. I'm responsive to them because I'm able to obviously look for patterns around small group instruction.
And what the student feedback is about what's happening in my classroom, because they are also adding their goals and their thinking to the rubrics and communicating how they feel about where they're at in their assignments.
Kids are now starting to go in on their own and are checking. They leave the comments for me if they question something or don't understand something that I've said, or if I've made a spelling mistake.
So you just talked about all these positive things that you really like about assessing digitally. What are your frustrations?
There's the time to get it set up, but once it's set up, it works. Or the frustration is the moment when I have the marking in front of me and I realize I haven't set the form up yet and now I have to do the form. And sometimes when you use forms, you want to use a tree and you want it to be able to go one place and then the other. And then you want that data to show up on the sheet the way you want it to show up. It's that process of just kind of working it through your head. What's that going to look like? And there's a little trial and error involved sometimes.
How have you felt your learning has changed because of this program?
I think I'm a lot more aware of how much assessment data I've been collecting in my head and how much more I could be sharing with the students. And this has probably been the best part of that tool, is because they're getting a lot more of what I'm seeing and what I'm talking about, and they're getting a chance to respond to it and set those goals for themselves and be able to say, well, based on what you've told me about today, now I know what I can work on tomorrow.
Benefits of doing a rubric in a form are, number one, I'm well thought out on my assessment before I begin. I am thinking through, rather than having it be a one-size-fits-all model for all kids all the time, I'm thinking about that prior to the assessment time. So I am specifically thinking about next steps or the comments that need to come after the assessment piece. I'm really specifically thinking about kids in my class, and each form for each one of my classes can be very different depending on the specific kids that I'm thinking about and what effective, immediate next steps that they can have and use for their work.
Any advice you would give to somebody considering this, or why they should consider doing this instead of maybe what they're already doing?
I would say do it. And I tell this to people all the time. If you want to be able to get feedback to students immediately, if you want to be able to make your work quicker so you can spend more time with students and doing other things and planning and looking at that assessment data as opposed to writing comments over and over and over and over again, then this is the tool for you. And it changed my life, honestly.
The power around the time and efficiency is completely changed my career.
If you're not techie, I think pick one thing and try it. So maybe what you want to do is say, well, this year I want to try recording my reading that way, and just pick one thing and just do that thing until you feel comfortable, and then get ready to expand.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.